What's up everyone, Tommy with Studio Sense here. Thanks for stopping by to check out today's video. Whether you're of legal age to drink or not, you've likely heard of the drink Absinthe. It's best known as the Green Fairy, simply because it's this bright, well, not really bright, more of like a darker, but still somehow neon green, kind of like a witch's brew. In fact, I was at a liquor store one time and I saw by the counter, it said the most intense absinthe drink that you can legally get. There is no such thing as an illegal absinthe. I'm going to demystify absinthe a little bit and relate how it goes from an alcoholic drink to a note in men's fragrance. And today I'm going to highlight 7 fragrances that absinthe is the tipping point, or the note that makes the fragrance great. I've got that and more coming up, so stay tuned. Welcome back everyone, and again thanks for checking out today's video talking about the note of absinthe. Now, absinthe originally was a drink, and really all it is brandy macerated with certain herbs, the most common of which are fennel, wormwood, and star anise. But the recipe is unregulated, so it can vary from herb to herb. Now, absinthe the drink has a bit of a reputation that's not really based in reality. For example, everyone has heard of the artist Van Gogh. Absinthe is supposedly the drink that was responsible for him chopping off his ear, when in reality it was likely more associated with the fact that he was insane, and maybe he was, who knows, opium was the drug of choice for the Renaissance men of the age, so it's unlikely that absinthe had anything to do with it. One cool thing about the drink of absinthe is the recipes remained largely unchanged over the years, so drinking absinthe today is kind of like going back in time. Well, how does the drink absinthe relate to the note of absinthe? Our sense of smell is very closely associated with our sense of taste, so the drink absinthe tastes and smells very much like the note absinthe, spicy and herbaceous. If I had to describe the note of absinthe, it is as the color green. It's appropriately green, not like lime green or apple green. It's like an effervescent, bubbly, minty green that has a specific kick to it that is the note that is specific to the note of absinthe, that is a little bit like licorice, related to a minty fresh with a hint of green, but again, not apple green, not lime green, and not vegetal green. It is specific to the spicy creation of absinthe, and of course, because brandy is involved in the drink, it's got a little bit of a boozy association to it as well. So that's what it's like when it appears in men's fragrance, and I've got 7 examples today where the note of absinthe makes the fragrance great. The first example is an Guy Laroche fragrance called Drapery Intense. It smells fantastic. It's ambery, it's spicy, it's soapy clean and fresh, and that note of absinthe, which appears in the top, is what makes the fragrance great. Now, you'll notice that the note of absinthe is most often in the open or in the top notes of a fragrance because it doesn't last super long. That's the only negative, I would say. And it's not really a negative because a lot of fruity notes are like that, a lot of other notes are like that. This particular spice of absinthe, if the fragrance isn't specifically an absinthe fragrance, but just has a note of absinthe in it, it doesn't last super long, but it does make the fragrance smell fantastic, specifically in the open, often in the heart, rarely in the base. Bergamot, absinthe, coriander, and rosemary in this case are what make the opening of Drapery Intense smells so great. You've got lavender, clary sage, juniper in the heart that continues that spicy body, and then primarily patchouli, vanilla, suede, and moss in the base. The only thing that I can say about Drapery Intense is similar to the note of absinthe. It doesn't last super long, but while it's there, it is great. The next fragrance where absinthe is used excellently and makes the fragrance great is Le Beau Mal by Jean-Paul Gaultier, and in this case, absinthe and mint is the opening. Now that makes sense because absinthe has kind of a minty freshness about it anyway, and you add mint to that and it just adds an extra kick to it. So the open of Le Beau Mal is fantastic. Now it does last into the heart of lavender and orange blossom. There's an additional spice of sage, and then the base just has a kind of a light or medium musk. There's no woods in Le Beau Mal, just a little bit of musk to carry that absinthe scent forward, the absinthe and mint, a little bit of sage there, and that's what makes Le Beau Mal such a great absinthe-oriented fragrance. Another great example of the use of absinthe in modern men's fragrance is one from Paco Rabanne in the Invictus line. It is Invictus Platinum. I really enjoy Platinum. In fact, oh man, the note of absinthe is really what makes Platinum such a great fragrance. So you've got this Invictus fragrance, right, that's very bubblegummy and sweet, and then you add this very, very green, effervescent, brilliant, minty fresh with a little bit of hint of licorice, and you automatically think of the color green. You add that into that fragrance and it becomes Invictus Platinum. It's a great scent. Now here's an example too of the note of absinthe lasting longer than the top, than the open. Platinum also uses fruit and mint to buoy the note of absinthe and make it last longer. You've got grapefruit, absinthe, and mint in the open. You've got lavender and cypress and patchouli in the base. Well, lavender I think is in the heart, cypress and patchouli are in the base. That's pretty much what makes up the entirety of the formula of platinum and what makes it great. Now again, absinthe in this case lasts the entire life cycle of the fragrance, from open to mid to base. Absinthe is what you get. And that's what makes platinum, again, one of the best examples of the use of the note of absinthe in modern men's fragrance. Another great example of the use of absinthe in modern men's fragrance is from the house of Coach. It is Coach Blue. Now, Coach Blue is an outstanding, fresh, clean, with lightly soapy overtones kind of fragrance, and it's perfect for high heat. Now again, most fragrances that carry the note of absinthe are summertime oriented fragrances, just because the note of absinthe is similar to fruity notes, similar to it's kind of the best of both worlds in terms of fruit and spice. It's kind of a 50-50, kind of half and half. And so colognes that feature the note of absinthe are perfect for high heat. And in fact, high heat makes absinthe fragrances and the note of absinthe last a bit longer. So Coach Blue is definitely a summertime fragrance. Without that summertime buoying of the longevity, it doesn't last supremely long. It's a relatively short cycle, about 4 to 5 hours. Is pushing it. You can get an extra 6 hours in high heat, but while it's there and while it lasts, it's fantastic. Now, it uses the note of lime along with absinthe in the open, so you get an additional green kick. The heart has this sharp ozonic note accord, which goes great with the black pepper, the very peppery black pepper, and the base has cedar wood and amber in it. Overall, a great fragrance. Again, my only complaint is similar to how absinthe acts in a fragrance, is just the longevity. But again, while it lasts, it's a great fragrance. And again, a great example of the use of absinthe in fragrance to make it great. The next example of absinthe in modern men's fragrance is a bit different. It's a little bit warmer, a little bit spicier, and we're going into the territory of cooler weather. It's actually by Lolita Lempicka. It is Lempicka Homme. Lempicka Homme is an unusual fragrance. It is underutilized, it is underappreciated. I think it's a great gem of a fragrance. If you are the kind of person that likes aniseed, star anise, fennel, wormwood, all the herbs and notes that go into the making of absinthe, you will really enjoy Lempicka Homme because it's a very lightly licorice, warm, light gourmand kind of spicy fragrance for men. It wears so well. The longevity of this is great. So you get that very sharp absinthe kind of note along with ivy in the open, along with some other very strong and long-lasting notes. So it's one of the better absinthe-oriented fragrances out there. It does have a really good kind of vanillic base as well. So it's a kind of a vanilla absinthe combination, 1-2 punch. If you haven't checked it out and you are into the note of absinthe or you like a light licorice, light gourmand fragrance, Lempicka Homme should be on your list to try. An unusual but still yet interesting use of the note of absinthe in a modern fragrance is found in a Davidoff hot water. A Davidoff hot water? Yeah, not just one, but all of them. Hot water is kind of a weird fragrance. I like wearing it at times, and at times I wonder what it's actually there for. But I do like the note of absinthe in it. Actually, a combination of basil and absinthe in the open are what make it interesting. It's got bell pepper, patchouli, and pimento because it's trying to be warm, spicy, and hot, and it succeeds to a degree, but the best part of the fragrance is that opening of basil and absinthe. Similar to Le Beau Mall, hot water has no woods in it. It has benzoin and styrax as fixatives in the base, so you get that opening that lasts a bit longer than it typically does in fragrance, and that's what makes it a really nice kind of absinthe-oriented fragrance, albeit, again, an unusual one. Trying to fit where you can actually wear this and have it be appropriate, but it's still worth owning, and you should check out Davidoff Hot Water. Well guys, that's a wrap on today's video and the focus on absinthe as a fragrant note. Not only a great drink, I really enjoy drinking it also, but it translates into a fantastic note for men's summertime and medium summer you know, to cool weather autumn fragrances. If you've got experience with any of the ones that I've mentioned, let me know what you think about them. And if you know of other fragrances that whose primary focus or even just has a secondary focus of the note of absinthe, but that makes it great, let us know what those are in the comments below. Guys, thanks so much for stopping by to check out today's video. As always, thank you so much for your support on my channel. I'm Tommy with Studio Sense, and I'll see you tomorrow.